I got the helicopter! We are so back, baby! What's up, guys? So, the Battlefield 6 beta is on its first weekend, and everybody and their mom has an opinion on it, so I figured maybe y'all would want to hear my opinion too. So, to preface this, I am a huge Battlefield fan. My first Battlefield game was Battlefield Bad Company 2. Now, I usually tell people Battlefield 3 was really my first Battlefield game because I never really played the multiplayer for Bad Company 2. Like, I played it a little bit, but not enough to really, say like, oh yeah, I was like playing the multiplayer all the time. But Battlefield 3 was like the first time I really sunk like a lot of time into the multiplayer, and is what made me a Battlefield fan. And then, of course, Battlefield 4 smacked, and then Battlefield 1 after that smacked. Then Battlefield 5 was a bit of a misstep. It wasn't a terrible game, but it had a lot of problems at first, and then they abandoned it right as it was getting good with the Pacific update. Then we all know what happened with 2042, and that was just a huge letdown. So, it is understandable when you hear from Battlefield fans that they are a little jaded and don't really trust EA. It really is understandable, especially after 5 and 2042. But I'm not that kind of fan. I believe that there is always hope.
There is always hope.
And I think that things can always turn around. Now, there's been a lot of leadership shakeups in EA, so it's honestly like a pretty different company. They got Vince Zampella now, who is responsible for really like the golden age of Call of Duty with the Modern Warfare games. And after such a failure that 2042 was, they have to change up strategy. Like, I know we say that, oh, they're just these greedy companies, and to a certain extent they are, but at the same time, well, they are incentivized to make money, and eventually, to make money, they're going to have to figure out how to do that, and that is to cater to the fans. So I have actually been really following closely, like, all the leaks and everything from Battlefield 6 for like, I don't know, probably like a year now. It's been a while. And I could just feel it in the air that this game was going to have a different approach. All the leaked gameplay from Battlefield Labs was looking good. Then the trailer that came out looked really dang good. The campaign trailer looked good, and then the multiplayer trailer looked really good. So like this game was just looking like everything I wanted Battlefield to come back to. Then of course under every social media comment section, you got a bunch of people yelling out no pre-orders. And again, I understand the sentiment because a lot of people were burned by 2042 and 5 to a certain extent. But now we've actually had the opportunity to play the game and answer the question, is Battlefield back? And after playing it for a couple of days, in my opinion, yeah, I think it is. The gunplay is smooth, the weapons feel nice, the set pieces are big, the explosions and the environments look amazing, the sound is absolutely on point. I mean, you feel these gunfights in your gut. Kind of reminds me of the sound from the old Medal of Honor that was like set in Afghanistan, like the reboot. That actually had a really good sound system for the gunfights. Like, it wasn't like the best of games, but the sound system was like a really strong point of that, and that's just kind of what it reminds me of. And all of those things come together to just make a really good experience that to me really does feel like Battlefield. And the game just plays really well, and this is the most fun I've had on Battlefield game since probably Battlefield 1. Now, are there still some complaints I have? Yeah, I do. But they're such minor things. It's like balancing of the weapons and things like that. Like, I think the shotgun is slightly too OP. I think the range needs to be taken down on that a little bit. Although I'm enjoying it while it's OP, so before they nerf it, I'm getting my shotgun kills in. The recoil on some of the weapons probably needs to be adjusted a little bit, like some of the LMGs and the SMGs. Probably a little too soft on the recoil there. Although there's actually guns out there that aren't. They don't have huge recoil, so it depends on how much realism you really want in your game at the cost of gameplay. And I do think the vehicles feel amazing. I think the destruction is amazing. Although I wish there was a few more things we could blow up, because when we saw the trailers, it kind of looked like you could blow up almost anything. But it really is only certain buildings and certain walls and things like that. I do wish there was a little bit more freedom in what you could destroy. But that one's like a minor nitpick. Then you kind of start to get into the complaints, which for me is honestly not that much of a complaint. It's just what I'm seeing online a lot. But there are a lot of complaints that the maps are too small. And I get it. Battlefield is known for like these big, large, sprawling maps, like Caspian Border, Operation Firestorm, things like that. And I do love those maps, but let's also not forget that Battlefield has had a lot of small maps in its time, and they've all been great. I mean, are we just going to forget about the grindfest of Operation Metro? Yeah, so. The developers have already said that these are some of the smallest maps in the game for this weekend, and they're going to be adding another map next weekend, which I'll probably do a video on. And then the final version of the game will have, plenty of larger maps. So these are the smallest maps, and in my opinion, I don't even think that they are crazy small. Yeah, things are a little bit more intense, but I don't think it's anything crazy. It doesn't feel like a total grind fest like Operation Metro. None of the maps feel that way. Which some of these complaints do bring me to my next point, that I think Battlefield fans are just very difficult to please. Some of the complaints I'm seeing are just really stupid. Like, I've seen people complain about the emblems on the rank, that's what makes it a bad game. Things like that. Like, bro, I haven't looked at the rank emblems on a game since I was like 12 years old. Like, I don't know. Go touch some grass, bro.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
And one of the, I guess, slightly more valid complaints, I see where they're coming from, but I still think it's a stupid complaint if you've actually played the game. But that's complaining about the movement in the game. Honestly, I think the movement's fine. It feels a little fast because the maps we're playing on right now are a little more tight. But I'm seeing a lot of people compare it to Call of Duty movement, and if you've played Black Ops 6, it doesn't move at all like that. I do think the movement here is very smooth, but you can't even tactical sprint. I don't think it's too fast. You can do like a little dive to cover and things like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think you need to walk at a snail's pace from cover to cover in order for the game to feel immersive. If people are saying, oh, it feels like Call of Duty, I don't know. Every time I've seen somebody try to use Call of Duty movement on me in Battlefield 6 so far, they've gotten absolutely melted. So, people are being punished for that kind of movement. If you are playing it and it's feeling like Call of Duty to you, it's because you are playing it like it is Call of Duty. Y'all have probably just not played a good Battlefield game in so long that you forgot what it felt like. Because I started playing this game on Thursday, and then literally by one day later, on Friday, the overall gameplay had already slowed down. The player base had already kind of adjusted to it and realized that they needed to slow down a little bit and take their time taking positions. And you see that with old Battlefields, right? When I first got into Battlefield, I had jumped over from Call of Duty like most people. And yeah, when I tried to use Call of Duty strats, it didn't work, and I had to learn how to slow it down within that game and play it a little bit differently. So if you think that Battlefield 6 is feeling too much like Call of Duty, I'll be honest with you, bro, I think that's a you thing.
Skill issue.
Like, you need to adjust your playstyle. I played it like all day yesterday with my friends, and for the most part, I was diving from cover to cover. In Call of Duty, you don't do that. You just run out and you swing corners, and that's how it works in Call of Duty. In Battlefield, I found myself diving for cover to not get my head blown off. And I think that's where you really start to get a lot of your Battlefield moments, right? Where you kind of learn how to position within this game, and you learn how to slow things down a little bit. But within that slightly slower gameplay, because this is not a milsim. I think people want to make Battlefield into a milsim. It's not, and I'll get back to that in a second. But within those moments where you're crawling prone behind a barricade and you got a tank rolling up on you, and then you just saw a whole enemy squad spawn in across the road, and you're thinking dang, I'm alone right here. And then suddenly your squad shows up and it's a giant gunfight, and then there's a helicopter above you, and maybe you knock one out with the RPG or whatever, and it's just sudden chaos. That's where Battlefield has always shined. That's what you refer to as the Battlefield moments, right? The only in Battlefield slogan that used to be a thing. So when you are trying to make Battlefield into a milsim, I think you kind of miss out on those moments. If you want to play a milsim, I love milsims. I play Squad, I play Hell Let Loose. I like those games a lot. So if you want to feel like you're really in the war, if you're really in the military or whatever, well, you can either go actually join up or just go play one of those milsims. Because that's not what Battlefield is, and it never has been. Battlefield, rather than making you feel like you're in the war, Battlefield has always made you feel like you're in a war movie. When things pop off in Battlefield, there's a cinematic feel to it. You can almost see the shot in a war movie, right? Whereas if you're playing like Hell Let Loose or something, like they're fun games and they can have their own moments in their own right. Those games focus more on that tactical gameplay. Whereas Battlefield does still have tactical gameplay, don't get me wrong, it's definitely better when you're playing with friends and you're communicating with your squad. But where it shines, and always has shined, is in its ability to create chaos that look like they were pulled straight out of a movie, and they feel organic because they're always done by the players. It's not something that's scripted, it just happens. And that's what people mean when they say only in Battlefield. And I got to tell you, I've already had those moments in this beta. And I think when we eventually get these bigger maps and we can do a lot more, we have a lot more freedom, I think you're going to see a lot more of those Battlefield moments. Like, I remember in Battlefield 3, we managed to flip a tank with some C4. Like we just flipped it all the way over onto its turret and blew it up, whatever. But we thought that was so cool, man. Like that was we talked about that for like 3 weeks. We probably looked really stupid at school talking about that, but that was one of those Battlefield moments, and I've already had moments like that in this beta, and I think we're just going to be seeing more and more of that. So yeah, I really do feel like this is a huge return to form. I think where people are kind of complaining is that things are a little bit smoother. If you go back and play Battlefield 3 and maybe Battlefield 4, I think Battlefield 4 probably ages a little bit better. But Battlefield 3, to be honest, it hasn't really aged all that great. Like, if you go back and play it, it feels like an older game. It's still a great game, before you crucify me. I still love it, but it does feel a little dated. And all Battlefield 6 has done is just improved on the mechanics. And I think a lot of people are just complaining because they just don't like change. They don't like seeing anything different. And I think a part of that is that they just wish they were 14 years old again. And I'm sorry, bro, you can't do that. You're not going to recapture that moment. You need to learn how to make some new moments with this really good product they are giving us. Now, that does bring me into future concerns. Now, I had made a video about Black Ops 6. And when Black Ops 6 had first come out, I think that they did a good job of improving on a lot of things, and it really did feel like a bit of a return to form to the old Black Ops formula, at least as far as the multiplayer went. I'm not much of a battle royale guy, so I didn't really touch the Warzone and all that stuff. Then the campaign, I'll agree, was kind of mid. But for the most part, people actually really liked Black Ops 6 when it came out. I don't regret spending time on that. But as we know, microtransactions are just a fact of life, like death and taxes. And it has now become this weird beast of these really dumb skins that just completely destroy the identity of Call of Duty. It's trying to chase that Fortnite money. And the thing is, I actually like skins in Fortnite. When I play it, I got an Alan the Alien skin. He's my goat for real. But that matches the aesthetic of Fortnite. There's nothing weird about having stupid skins in Fortnite because the whole game is kind of stupid. It's fun. I do like Fortnite. Sue me.
Move this man!
But it matches the aesthetic of Fortnite, so it's not going to ruin anything by putting a weird skin in there. When you do that with Call of Duty, well, you're just destroying the whole identity, and you're just trying to do what Fortnite does. But because you're not Fortnite, you're just never going to do it as well as them. So it's Call of Duty is kind of having an identity crisis right now. So is Battlefield going to do the same thing? I don't think so. Again, I am a little bit of an optimist in some respects, but the developers have said that they want to keep it grounded, keep it real.
Keeping it real.
That they don't need Nicki Minaj in here, and I do believe them, at least to a certain extent. Obviously, we already know that there's going to be skins in the game, that there will be microtransactions. But if you look back at Battlefield 2042, and with all the problems that 2042 had, if you go and look at the store on there with all the skins and everything, the skins are actually not that bad. They do match the identity of what 2042 is. And so I don't think the skins are that bad. They never, they didn't put American Dad in there or anything like that. And I think you can still put cool skins in there that I'd be willing to buy in Battlefield without ruining the identity, without ruining the immersion. Because let's face it, microtransactions are just going to be in every game now. So you need to learn how to make some compromises there. If you just see one, season pass and you're like, no, I'm already out, yeah, then you're probably just never going to play a game again, bro, because that's just how the industry works now. But I think this game actually has a lot of potential for pretty good customization. I remember tags were a big thing in Battlefield 3. If you go around and take somebody down and you start collecting tags. I think that could actually be a pretty cool thing with Battlefield 6 if they give us a lot of customization options, for editing your tags. And, I think, again, if they keep it grounded, keep it real, like the developers have already said, I think having skins in the game is not going to ruin it. The gameplay already feels solid. I don't think skins are going to kill that gameplay. But I have been wrong before, and it is EA. But I think they have way too much money riding on this game that they're not going to mess it up.
We gotta give the people what they want.
At least not in the near future. Maybe they'll ruin it in a few years, but I think we're still going to at least get a few solid couple years with the game before anything like that starts happening. And yeah, I do have high hopes. I think this game is going to be solid. I can see myself playing this game a lot. I've been looking for a game I can just kind of sink some time into. There hasn't really been anything that satisfies me. Games are either too grindy or they just don't really match what I like to play. So I'm really happy for Battlefield 6 because I can actually put some time into this, and I'd be willing to play it by myself, not necessarily when my friends get on. So yeah, I'm enjoying the beta so far. I do think some things need to be tweaked. Anybody complaining about the maps? There are more maps coming. These are the smallest maps in the game. Alright, so just relax a little bit, bro. Any sort of balancing, that's obviously going to be tweaked as the game goes on. That's with any game. It's always been that way. But yeah, as of right now, I'm loving the beta. I'm having so much fun with this. I haven't had this much fun on a Battlefield game in many years. It has actually managed to get all of the boys online. And, that is so hard to do as an adult now. Like, everybody's schedules never match up, and then, they're all too tired to play, or they just want to play something else because they only have so much time. And now everybody's actually wanting to play Battlefield. And it deserves some credit just for that. And right after I finish editing this video, I'm going to go play it. And you should too. Anyway, that's it for today. I do appreciate you watching the video. If you could just like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. I've been away from uploading videos on YouTube for a while, just been busy with work and whatnot, because I don't make any money off of YouTube yet, and I couldn't really find any time to play games. So now I'm trying to hopefully be more consistent and everything. I also have a different microphone again because my dog chewed up the one I was using before. So I hope this one sounds okay. I don't think it sounds as crisp as the last one I was using, but the other microphone I was using was kind of expensive. So we'll see. We'll run it with this one for a while. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and maybe watch another one.
Be advised, hostiles attacking Delta.